Yeah, we can go longer. I'd say an hour just because
Yeah.
we're recording, by the way.
Okay.
I always tell people let's shoot for an hour because like I realized in like the first, I don't know, 40 or 50 episodes, I would just,
Mhm.
because I can talk forever. And so
Yeah.
like I realized that would be almost like holding people hostage. I would just keep talking and talking, and we'd be like 4 hours in, and I'd see them like yawning, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, they're being very like, they don't want to be rude and say I gotta go, so they're just staying on. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's not cool. I need to like give people an out. So I say, hey, let's shoot for an hour, and if we're still having a
Okay.
blast, we'll keep going. And for
Yeah.
whatever reason, we'll bow out. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. Why don't you introduce
Cool.
yourself?
Yeah.
You and I have been playing email tag for like 2 months. I've had to cancel
Yeah.
you, I believe, twice.
Yeah, that's
But
fine. Yeah.
here we are, 10 weeks
Yeah.
later. I'm glad we finally got it going. So yeah, man, introduce
Yeah.
yourself, brother.
All right. Yeah. So I'm Joseph Johnson. I'm an author and a biomedical engineer. So my pseudonym for my books is Thrak Farrelle and Joseph J.R. Johnson.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I was so confused because yeah, I had you down as Thrak Farrell, and then
Yeah.
yeah, like last week you're like, yeah. By the way, my name's Joe, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, what? I was like, it's not even what? And I
Yeah.
realized it was
Not,
a pseudonym,
yeah.
but yeah, man, how's how's so it says you're a biomedical engineer.
hmm
I'm not nearly that. I have a bachelor's in biology,
Oh,
but
nice. Hey,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. Not really. I don't use it.
Yeah.
I got into medical school out of college, but decided I didn't want to go. So it's now it's
Yeah.
useless. It was useful, but
Mm.
it's what all do you do if you don't mind me talking about biomedical engineering? What all do you
Yeah.
do, and how is what is your view on everything with coronavirus? Do you have like a specialty in that?
I don't have a specialty in that. What my current job is I'm a quality engineer
Right.
for a pretty big company. So um I basically look at documents and I have kind of a weird job. It's like half quality, half manufacturing
Yeah.
engineering at this medical device company. So I've been doing risk documentation is what I've been doing a lot of recently. So it's
Mhm.
just looking at a device and seeing what risks can happen and making the spreadsheet of possible risks, causes, and then just like you come up with a number at the end of
Yeah.
how much damage that could do at the end of the whole thing, basically. And then if it's too high, you have to go back and
It,
mitigate it,
it's
you know?
That sounds like Fight Club. You
Yeah.
know, when he's talking about like he's like, yeah, he's like, we see if what it was like the value of life insurance versus the possibility of like the gas tank exploding, and he's
Yeah.
like, and who do you work for? He's like, a major car company, and he's like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
My my ex girlfriend's father was the CEO of a medical device company. I cannot remember what
Oh,
the name was, but I remember his
yeah.
boss was like a comic book villain. He was he was a billionaire in
Yeah.
Israel named Shlomo Ben Haim, and he had the same chef as Vladimir Putin. And like,
Okay.
yeah,
Weird.
yeah, yeah. But I remember, yeah, he owned like 6 or 7 medical device companies, and one of them was like, I mean, why he owned all these things in like Israel and New York, and I think one of them he got almost like Steve Jobs. He was like booted from the
Yeah.
board, but
Huh.
it was almost like Spider-Man with like the Green Goblin. He was
Yeah.
like you're not booting me from my own board, and he like hired this Israeli mercenary team to like surround the building and was like, so when the other board members tried to come to work, he literally had these former like
Yeah.
IDF guys there with like M60s and shit. Yeah, man, that guy was a legit fucking comic book villain. But
Yeah.
not to associate you with him, not to put that on you. Be like, all right, Joe, defend
Yeah.
yourself. Um, yeah, crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. What so what made you also want to be a writer? Was that like an original passion or
Yeah, so I mean, as a kid, my favorite hobby was always reading.
Mhm,
And so then just I've always kind of wanted to write a book, and then in
mhm.
college I just decided to go with it for
Yeah,
my first book, just
yeah,
kind of like a hobby, see if I could do it. And
yeah,
I did it and it kind of worked out, so I've just kept doing it because it's
y-
fun. It's kind
yeah,
of therapeutic to get
yeah.
home from work and write for a little bit. So,
Well,
So that's why, really.
I guess that's
Yeah.
why you're supposed to. That's why you should be a writer, man. I don't know
Yeah.
many people that say it's therapeutic. It's, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, man. I tried to write something. I tried to write something about a psychedelic trip, and,
Yeah.
and I wrote it over like 2 years. And I finally finished it at like 40
Hmm.
pages because I was like, "Fuck this, I hate this."
Yeah. But hey,
But
at least you tried though. I mean, that's
yeah, I
pretty
did try.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's I don't know, man. Not at your level.
Yeah.
Um, so like, where do you want to go with this? Like writing, is there is the biome is so like right now I'm in online graphic design courses. I like graphic
Okay.
design. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's not the end all be all, but I like it a
Hmm.
lot more than I liked biology. And
Yeah.
I would definitely like for my podcast to work and to
Yeah.
make some
Oh,
dough off
sure.
this. But like
Yeah.
there's also this sort of like reality where it's like I gotta have a backup plan.
Yeah.
They said, fucks, it's like if I don't get into med school, I'm gonna go to pharmacy school. Like I had my back.
Yeah.
So my backup is like, let me get the graphic design degree, and if this takes longer than I thought it was gonna take,
Hmm.
I'll do that. Is biomedical engineering, is that like your that puts food on the table and you're
I mean,
trying to make it as a
basically, I
writer?
mean, to make it as a writer, as like an author, it's super competitive and kind
Yeah,
of down to luck. So
yeah,
right now, the writing's really it's a pipe dream if
yeah.
I can make a
Yeah,
living
you
off
gotta
that.
keep going, dude. But
Yeah, yeah.
I
We
know.
could get that with the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, dude, yeah,
that's super competitive on
yeah,
that
dude.
end too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. No, podcast is even more of a pipe. Yours is
Oh, I'm
realistic.
sure.
Podcast is a
Yeah.
fucking pipe dream. Like, how is this gonna work? Um,
Yeah. You
dude,
seem to be doing pretty good though with all your videos and
yeah,
whatnot.
dude, it's
They
fucking
have good views.
thank you,
So
man. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm I'm tearing my hair out because I want it to be much
Yeah.
more, but I'm enjoying it. I had on a guy the other day, odd episode 82, 80, I don't know what it was. John
Hmm.
Romanello. He's an author, and
Okay.
I just knew him from Facebook because he's like a mental health advocate, and that's
Okay.
how I
Yeah.
knew him, and I just ended up following him.
Yeah.
And never didn't exactly like know who he was. Like knew he was
Hmm.
like I know he's successful, but it was just kind of in the periphery. And
Yeah.
I've been trying to get him on my podcast, and finally he was like stuck in California away from home, and finally he was like, you know what?
Yeah.
He was like, quarantine's got me going crazy. He's like, fuck it, I'll give you an hour. And I was like, awesome.
Nice.
And so like that morning I was like, okay, like I know him just as like, someone with depression myself. I was like, oh yeah, I just know him
Hmm.
from Instagram. He's a nice guy, super,
Yeah.
super buff, super handsome dude. I was like, he's kind of like a
Yeah.
role model to follow. I looked him up. He's like a 2-time New York Times bestseller, and he's the
Oh,
former
geez.
personal trainer to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he worked for
Nice.
Joe Rogan's fitness company as well. And I was like,
Oh, you got someone real famous on there. That's huge.
but I didn't realize this till like
Yeah.
5 minutes beforehand.
Oh
So
no. So
I was like,
probably really
oh,
nervous going
whoa,
in.
no. And so like you can literally see at the beginning of the episode, I'm like, hey man, how's it? Oh, and I literally like 30 seconds in, I'm like, were you really Arnold Schwarzenegger's personal trainer? He was like, at one time, yes, I was. And I was like, so cool. But yeah, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of freaked out. And
Oh, I'm sure.
but
Yeah.
I was looking up about, and he's a fantastic writer.
Yeah.
But I looked up, he's one of the only authors to ever on his first book, he got an
Hmm.
advance because there's an article about it because it was so uncommon. He got an
Yeah.
advance of $1 million.
Whoa.
And I looked it up, and apparently, like even
That's
the
crazy.
best like first time, if you're like a J.K. Rowling
Hmm.
or a J.R. or Tolkien, you can
Yeah.
whatever George R. R. Martin, like you can definitely get an advance. But like first time
Yeah.
authors, apparently like 50,000 is like that's like unheard of.
Yeah.
It's like okay,
Yeah.
you got it, you made it. He got
Mm.
$1 million.
That's insane.
I guess that's why you're the personal trainer for Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude. Because
Yeah.
fucking yeah, man. It's yeah,
That's
not the
crazy.
yeah. So yeah, that was like a level of like, oh Jesus. So
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of freaked out with that one. So yeah, when
Oh, I'm
people are like, "Oh,
sure.
you've had on good people," I'm like, "I've had on good people by accident." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you keep getting people like that, you'll get more people like that,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
I
So,
don't want to jinx
uh,
it, but I feel like I've already jinxed it. But I'm trying to have on a guy that I don't know if you recognize the name Mike Durant. He
oh, yeah,
If
yeah,
you
I
ever seen
recognize the name. Yeah.
Black Hawk Down is about him. He was a down
Okay,
pilot that,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So like,
Jeez, nice.
yeah.
That'll be huge. That'll be good.
Yeah, he's from like the same small town one of my extended family members is from, and I was just like,
Hmm.
it's a very small town, and I know that he like knew my uncle at one point. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
found his company. He's like an
Mm.
entrepreneur, and he's in his like 60s now. But I
Yeah.
found his company, found like all the email addresses. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like customer service, media, personal, whatever. I just went through and I kind of
Yeah.
blanket bombed all of his emails, and I was literally like, "Hey, man," and like I got a response, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd be interested."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, fuck, okay."
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, we're talking about me, and we don't need to talk about me. I have 85 episodes of me talking about me.
Yeah.
So what if you'll excuse me, I
Mhm.
because we initially like set up the podcast so long ago, I don't
Yeah.
precisely remember your AMA. Normally, like when I set it up, it's like I'll message them and it'll be like 3 or 4 days later we'll do it. But
Yeah.
because of my own fault, not yours, it's it's been like 60 or 70 days. So I
Yeah.
don't entirely remember what your AMA was. I just remember it was badass because I'm a biomedical engineer and an author.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, really, what sparked it was I published my second book
yeah.
like a
Right.
couple weeks before the AMA. So I set up the AMA kind of to help promote it
Uh,
in an attempt to do that. And so really, it was just it was this AMA about my new book that I'd recently published called Forgiveness. It's like a fantasy adventure
yeah.
book. And so that's really what sparked the AMA for me
Yeah.
was that. And yeah, it was a pretty good one. There's quite a few questions
Yeah.
and good questions about biomedical and good questions about writing and
Yeah.
whatnot. So I think it was fairly successful. It was pretty good.
Yeah. If I remember, it's you said you tie science into your writing, correct?
A little bit, yeah, I try to, since
Yeah.
that's kind of my background.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
a little harder to do in fantasy, but
yeah. No, fuck that. I think if anything, it's better. It's
yeah.
because it when you go like pure fantasy, you ever like watch movies where you just can't suspend your disbelief because
Yeah.
it's almost well, you like the first Transformers. The first
Oh,
Transformers
yeah.
was awesome because the first Transformers was awesome because it was like you could kind of like fucking see. Excuse me. You could. I had someone. I swear a lot, and I had someone the other day comment like, What's with the language?" And I was like, "I didn't even realize I swear so much." Try to cut it down, but you could kind of see it, all right?
Mhm.
Because it'd be like, all
Yeah.
right, how would aliens come to Earth? And it'd be like they probably come in like a form that we could relate to. So I don't know, they'd be
Yeah.
cars. Like how would they talk to us? They'd learn it through the World Wide Web, and they'd like
Yeah.
Bumblebee, he talks through the radio and shit. And he's
Yeah.
like, that's how he talks. But then like I don't know, you could like kind of see it. You could,
Mhm.
for me at least, it was like ridiculous, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but almost reasonable.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could suspend your disbelief a little bit. It
Yes.
was it was when it got to like Transformers 2 and 3 and they started like
Yeah.
Transformers had like baby Transformers and there were like eggs
Yeah.
and they were growing in these weird like amniotic
Mhm.
fluid sacs and it was like, dude, what the like what? And it's like Megatron's
What
like
is going
feeding
on?
them like a bird, almost like,
Yeah.
he's like, "You are growing stronger, my," and it's just like, wait, hold on, what? You're giving birth to little robots and like they're growing like a human, like
Mhm.
what? Like metal doesn't grow. Like it was like
Yeah.
it's. You can't tell I'm very passionate about that, and it made me very angry. So it's. I think you do need a bit
Yeah. Yeah, you
of
need some realistic
yeah,
kind of stuff. You can't just go fully on the deep end,
yeah,
but
yeah. You can't
yeah.
go full Michael Bay. Like,
Yes.
have you seen Arrival? I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't think I've seen that one. No.
It's good. I watched it last year
Yeah.
before. That is one where it's like to me that's like the most realistic alien movie.
Yeah.
It's because it's for lack of a better term, it's so alien. It's like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like the very first. It's like no one knows how to approach it. Then they go to
Yeah.
approach it, and they wear like hazmat suits because they don't know if there's any like exobiological matter on it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it comes down to like establishing like language, and it's literally like so. The first thing they do is they bring in like like linguistic professionals, like
Okay.
yeah, they
Yeah.
bring in people that are like you know these people that they use to like decipher hieroglyphics. It's like they could,
Yeah.
and it's like that's very
Yeah.
realistic because it's like they could. The very first bridge is like we got to learn this as opposed to these weird like bipedal organisms coming down, and
Yeah.
it's
And everyone immediately tries to kill each other.
yeah, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think there definitely has to be like a bit of scientific real
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
is
I would say it helps.
yeah
So
what yeah what is your book about? Again, you'll excuse me.
yeah.
I have
Yeah. So the
I
book's about
sorry, I was gonna say if
oh
I'm terrible because when books aren't on Audible,
yeah.
I won't. I'm too ADD. I
Yeah.
I had on some guys that worked at a fusion or a nuclear fusion plant or prototype plant, and they had a book, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna, because I've had on several guests that have written books, but they
Hmm.
weren't on Audible. And so I'd buy them, but then I'd just be like, I can't, too ADD. So
Yeah.
finally, I was like, I can't have on guests if I don't read their books. I was like, that's bullshit. I can't. That's not fair to them.
Hmm.
And so I finally downloaded the Fusion Guys books, and then I managed through some black magic to get Siri to read it to me, so
Yeah.
I could listen and go for walks and shit.
Yeah.
I haven't done that with your book, and I apologize.
Oh, that's
So,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel very rude, and I
Oh,
have to get
that's
that off my
okay.
chest. I apologize. You forgive me?
Yes, I
Okay,
forgive you. I
thank
wasn't expecting you to read it
you. Okay.
anyways.
No, I would oh, well, no,
So,
I mean, I would like to. It's yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, to
But yeah,
what is
so
based yeah.
it's a fantasy adventure book. It's about this kid whose his village gets destroyed when he's really young. And so he gets recruited by uh this old mage to go and fight this really big demon that's in the south that's been locked away for a long time. So it's a pretty
Oh,
classic plot,
yeah,
but I think what sets it a little bit apart is the world is a
yeah,
little bit different because it's our world, but like 500 years after a big apocalypse.
okay,
So that's where the science comes in, is they're repurposing stuff from our world for
okay,
their fantasy magic world.
okay. What
Yeah.
so, like, how so? Like
So like for one example, at the beginning of the book, they go on this because the kid lives on in the Caribbean islands originally, and they have to get to the continent. So
mhm,
they go on this ship, and it's an old metal ship with a nuclear reactor, is what it is. So they're using the old like Navy ships
yeah,
to transport things and for trade and
fuck
whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah, and then later on they have to go across the desert. So I came up with this little machine that's kind of like the strand beasts. I don't know if you've seen those. They're these wind things, and the wind makes the sails go, and they can walk over
Oh,
beaches.
yeah, I
Yeah,
have
they're
seen
like
I've
I
seen
think like
those
a
gifs.
Swedish artist
Yeah,
makes them,
yeah, I
something
know
like that.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of took that idea and then the nuclear reactor idea from the ships, and so some of them
Repurpose
have
it.
nuclear reactors, other ones they just pedal on the inside, and it's like a big thing that goes across the desert, like across the sand dunes. That's
That's
the idea.
it's almost like yeah, so I'm getting this imagery of, like, almost like slave ships where you have, like,
Hmm.
hundreds of guys rowing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
you
idea.
would
But they're pedaling. They're
yeah,
pedaling
yeah,
instead of rowing.
yeah,
Yeah,
you'd get, like, hundreds of captives, and, yeah, you'd have, like, the below
yeah,
decks. Yeah,
yeah,
that's that's insane.
yeah,
Yeah, or I was gonna say you could do shit like, I don't know, what if you got something like, I don't know, you get arm have you ever seen those huge, army road trains from, like, the '50s? It was something they tried out,
yeah.
they realized it did these are legitimately, like, the length of trains, but they have
Hmm.
tires, and
Yeah.
they're just for transporting stuff in the Nevada test site, which is
Okay.
it's the largest government parcel of land.
Hmm.
It's, like, bigger than, like I think it's bigger than Connecticut.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
Area
Oh,
51 is inside of it.
okay.
That's where we
Yeah.
tested the nukes. It's just
Yeah.
a
That's
huge plot
huge.
of land in Nevada.
Yeah.
It's where
Huh.
it has Tonopah Test Range, as Annie Jacobson has a really good book called Area 51. It's about it, but it's a
Okay.
huge parcel of land. Point being, though, is they had to have these things where it's like, all right, there's no other civilian traffic, so they just had these
Yeah.
huge, like, don't know, like desert trains, and it was
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of getting like imagery of that, but like
Yeah.
put huge sails on it or something. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, big land ships. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah. And then like they use like old skyscrapers as their cities. So like one of the cities is just in this one giant site skyscraper. Because if you think about it, right, there's an apocalypse. Like you won't have cities of millions of people. You have cities of thousands of
you're right.
people.
You're right.
And those skyscrapers, some of them are massive. So you could
Yeah,
fit a lot of people in there
just
and
one.
just yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, they're a whole little city just in basically one skyscraper that's kind of fallen apart
yeah,
from our world
yeah,
to their world. So
yeah. I didn't think about that. 'Cause
yeah,
that's true. I mean,
yeah.
you got to think like ancient cities. Like were there any cities over 1 million people in like BC?
Um,
Like maybe.
Possibly. I mean, I think Rome
Yeah, I was
probably
gonna say
was, and
Rome was
then some
probably
of like Beijing and
yeah.
whatnot,
But
like some of the Chinese and Indian cities, I would
yeah,
imagine were, but probably not more than 1 or 2 million.
yeah, yeah. Because if you ever look at like a population chart,
Hmm.
like dude, like we were at 1 billion for like the vast majority of human
Yeah.
history. It's only
Oh
recent.
yeah.
It's exponential curve, but
Yo.
yeah, I was gonna say because some skyscrapers are like that. The
Oh
John
yeah.
Hancock Center in Chicago,
Hmm.
the Burj Khalifa, which is the biggest
Oh
in
yeah. It's
Dubai.
huge.
But there's
Yeah.
some of these things where they refer to them as these like self-contained cities because they're
Yeah.
some of these
Because they
buildings
can
are so
hold a
big.
couple thousand people
Yeah,
every day for work,
yeah,
just as office buildings.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
the World Trade Centers they held. That was why they were. That's why 9/11 was actually kind of like a blessing because they're on a packed day. There's supposed to be something like 50,000 people in those.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's like the Sears Tower and the John Hancock Center.
Hmm.
They're in downtown Chicago, and it was just
Yeah.
these like wealthy people with like these penthouses on the top
Yeah.
floors, and it was like it's all about convenience, and it's
Yeah.
convenience in the city is like you don't have to even leave your building. So as you take
Hmm.
an elevator down, apparently they'd have like elementary schools. This is real life. They
Oh,
had elementary schools in some layers or
really? Oh,
levels.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gyms, grocery stores, barber shops, doctors' offices, and
So
then
you'd never have to leave from your
you never
work.
have to leave your
Yeah.
building. But yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Do you
Cool.
so in your book? I don't know if you go into this detail. Are so when skyscrapers first started in like 1890s Chicago, I think the
Hmm.
biggest one at the beginning was like 10 floors, and the wealthy people lived on the bottom floors because it
Yeah.
was seen as like a ironically below them to have to walk
Hmm.
upstairs. That was
Yeah.
for peasants. You walk upstairs. Wealthy people get
Yeah.
to just stride on in into the room.
Hmm.
With the invention of the elevator, and then flipped, and then it became
Yeah.
wealthy people get to be above everyone.
Yeah. Because they don't have to walk anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you go into that detail in your books, but is that I was thinking like you have these huge skyscrapers that are falling
Hmm.
apart. I don't know. I feel like the lower class would be at the tippy top because it'd be like
Yeah.
that's the most efficient.
So the city that I have, it's mostly a nomadic people, and they come to the skyscraper once a year, basically just for like their meetup and whatnot. So it's not so much. There's not really much of a class system there with that. But
Yeah.
I do have some of them because they're not human. These ones,
Oh, okay.
they're not human. So there's some that can fly, so they live on the top floors because they can just
Oh,
fly
okay.
up there, and then everyone else, yeah, they live on the bottom floors because those are in the best repair,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's been sitting there for 500 years and
Yeah.
can't really fix it once it
Yeah.
starts falling apart, like the concrete and the steel and the glass
Yeah.
can't replace with their
Yeah.
technology.
That's
So
true. Yeah. You can't
so
back
yeah,
engineer it. It's
yeah.
yeah. I was gonna. This one thing I always thought of would be like, what if it's almost like we have the. Do you know what the Svalbard seed vault is?
I don't. Oh, the seed vault. Yeah, yeah, where they have all the seeds so that we can
Almost
go
like
pick them up after the
yeah, for
apocalypse. Yeah,
apocalypse. Yeah, but it's
yeah.
this huge thing. I think it's in Norway. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's
It's
in
really
one of the
far. It's
Baltic
somewhere
states,
where
like
there's
way up in the Arctic
yeah.
Circle.
Well, it's
Yeah,
it's it's somewhere that has permafrost, and that's
yeah.
so that even if the power shuts down, they're still going to
Hmm.
be naturally frozen, and
Yeah.
so they're preserved. And it's built into a mountain, and the front of it is it's nuclear hardened so that it will
Yeah.
survive a direct nuclear hit. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like the rainy day fund for an apocalypse,
Mhm.
and it has stuff from like every country. One thing I thought of was like, do you think that there'd ever be like, because like satellites and space stations have decaying orbits, so
Yep.
every once in a while they got to boost back up.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, what if like in the event of an apocalypse,
Mhm.
you would have you couldn't do a hard drive because you'd have to assume that there's going to be no computers to read it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't know what it would be. Maybe it would just be like micro, no, not even microfilm, because film would be, you'd almost get like a metal tablet or something. Like for
Yeah.
currency, going all over the place, but for currency, currency is actually the designs, they're actually made, they're inscribed on metal because the
Mhm.
detail can be so high.
Yep.
These guys get in there with super intricate tools, and you just go on, down to like, I
Mhm.
wouldn't say micrometers, but I mean like tenths of a millimeter, and that's how they
Oh,
make all the
yeah.
intricate design. Because you do it with a pen, you can't do it. It's the ink's gonna
Yep.
spread. Metal tip, you
Yeah.
can just get. You'd almost do something like, because a magnifying glass, that's not, that would, stuff like that would probably survive, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
telescopes
yeah.
or handheld telescopes, what, 1500s, 1600s. Um,
Yeah.
well, I was thinking, like, what if it would almost be like a form of like the Ten Commandments, because you'd want
Yeah.
something that doesn't need a power source. You want something that can't be
Mhm.
affected by an EMP blast. You'd want
Yep.
something that, even if it did survive, but if there's a bunch of nomadic people in 500 years future in your book, you'd
Yeah,
be
they
like
won't destroy it or
hard drive.
anything.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
here's a 10 terabyte hard drive, but it's like,
Yeah. But they can't use that.
what good does,
Yeah.
if I saw this in the woods, I would just, it'd be like the monolith
Mhm.
2001: A Space Odyssey, right? It would just
Yeah.
be,
What is
that's
that?
all it would be. Yeah, wouldn't you wouldn't know what it is.
No, or how
But
to use it or anything. Yeah.
yeah, so it'd be, you'd almost need something. It'd be like written in every language, and it would
Yep.
be like, I don't know.
Basically like the Rosetta Stone kind of thing.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it'd be like a Rosetta Stone slash
Just
like
like our
Ten
modern
Commandments.
version of it,
Yeah,
kind
and
of.
but I think what it would be is, I've thought about this, like almost like the golden record on Voyager 2, but
Hmm.
obviously it'd have to be like infinitely more complex than that.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
think you'd have like anatomical descriptions. You'd have,
Yeah.
go in and you'd write like physics equations. I don't know, structure of the atom,
Yeah.
um, a map, definitely a globe, a map of the
Yeah. Map
globe.
would be good. Yeah. Map, basic math.
Yeah,
Probably be
basic
handy.
math.
Like, yeah, up to like probably trigonometry.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say,
It'd be like when your professor gives you a cheat sheet and you can have
yeah.
one
Yeah.
index card. You want to write as much as you could on these, like
Yeah.
inscribed on these metal tabs. But what I thought is
Yeah.
like, you'd put them in orbit, right?
Oh, and then have them crash down
Well,
eventually
it'd be like a
way in
dead
the
man
future.
switch. If they're not,
Yeah.
orbits aren't continually being saved, and
Hmm.
space station, when the Soyuz rockets boost to them, they dock, but
Yeah.
they'll do a little firing, and it's just
Yeah, to keep it
back
up
up a little.
there.
So what you do is you'd have these things, and it'd be like, you. I think you'd almost make like a ring,
Hmm.
just so that when their orbits decayed, some of them would hit the ocean, but you'd have them hit every
Yeah.
continent, so people would
Oh,
find them,
yeah.
and you'd pick up these
Oh, that'd be
tablets.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we can cut this out. You can write a whole book about this. You can have it. I don't care.
Dude, that's honestly, that's a really good idea. Yeah, and then you could probably
Dude,
time it out too,
I was
like
gonna say,
start
I'll
with
like,
basic stuff first for the first couple and then get more and more advanced.
dude, I'll actually postpone uploading this if you want to like keep this and write with it. I don't give a shit. You can do it.
Yeah, honestly, that's yeah, because that would fit in my world pretty well too.
All right,
Like,
dude, hold on.
dude,
I'm gonna take a piss. Let's brainstorm. Are you down to
yeah.
brainstorm for a bit? Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's do it. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
Excuse my weak bladder. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Yeah. My brain's popping now. I'm getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, hold on. Okay. Sorry, I got terrible allergies. I gotta take a
Oh, that's
Claritin.
fine. Yeah.
If you don't
It's
mind
a
me.
bad time to have allergies. Go outside and start sneezing from them.
I know. Well, no, that's the thing. It's like I'll be walking in my neighborhood because I got to get some exercise every day or I'll go insane.
Yeah.
But I'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
walking by people, and I'll sneeze and I'll cough, and you can kind of see people like
Yeah. Like you like, oh, no, we gotta get away from this guy.
COVID. And it's like, dude, no, I'm just fuck. Yeah,
Right.
it's I got it. Yeah, dude. So like, yeah. So like, I was thinking like, what would it be? It would be like, hold on, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
God damn you, biology. You'd have, yeah. Would you have like different spheres of satellites? So it's
Yeah.
timed. So
Yeah.
because you're right, it wouldn't do any good if like the metal
Yeah. Some
plate hit the
really
Earth that had
advanced
like
came
the
down.
double helix, right? That
Yeah,
wouldn't
because
matter.
they'd have that just looks like a cool design. But
Yeah,
if it comes down, it has like basic geometry or just
yeah,
really basic like arithmetic and write it and like a writing system.
yeah. You'd almost
That
have
would be
to just have.
useful.
You'd almost just have to have like almost like Da Vinci. You'd almost have to have like man,
Yeah.
right? So it would
Yeah.
be like that's us, right? So you'd be
Hmm.
like, okay, that's us.
Yeah.
What? So how far back are we assuming that like society is like set back? Are we like nuclear
For
stone
mine,
age? Or yeah, what's yours? Like
yeah,
what?
so for mine, it's kind of a mix of like medieval and Bronze Age. So there's certain groups that kept some knowledge and some technology, but they've kind of hoarded it within themselves. So they're like medieval
Absolutely. Yeah.
basically. And
Yeah.
then there's other groups that haven't, and so they're basically Bronze Age or Stone Age,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But then they have the magic to help them out against,
Yeah.
the more advanced societies. Just kind
Yeah.
of the balancing there. But
Yeah.
so
You
it
I
kind
was
of
gonna say,
depends.
yeah.
Yeah. And then there are some immortal people that are from our world that survived. And they're basically like the wizards and
Yeah.
the gods or
Yeah.
whatever.
Just giving society
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
nudges along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's basically where my world's at.
Yeah.
So
So what do you, yeah, I was gonna
kind of
say, I guess
improve.
it would, the satellite system, it would be planned for worst case scenario, right?
Yes.
You'd start
Yeah.
with,
For absolute worst, like
yeah,
no technology survives. We're just like
yeah,
back to basic farmers and
yeah,
that's it. Like farmers, ranchers,
yeah,
Stone Age.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably what you'd plan for.
So yeah, you would start with.
Yeah.
So let's just look at it as the minds, the planners. What would you? It'd be man, woman, right? Almost Da
Hmm.
Vinci-esque.
Yeah.
But even if you wrote 1 + 1 = 2, would they even know what that is? Like,
Probably not. Yeah, you'd have to start with some sort of like writing system initially. And I don't know how you would communicate that to someone who doesn't know what
I'm
that
sure some
is,
writing
right?
would have survived, right? I think,
I would imagine, yeah, at least like basic like numbers, at least just
yeah,
for counting things
somewhat,
for trading,
yeah,
because
because
that's the
like,
theory on where writing started is it was
yeah,
initially
it's
to keep
uniform.
track of what everyone had and
Yeah,
for taxes,
no,
basically, was where the
yeah,
theory is.
yeah.
It's like
But
how much grain do you have? And
yeah,
these 3 marks here, that's 30 bales of grain. That's what you owe us. This is how writing
IRS from
started. That's the
selling pine,
theory.
fucking
Yeah.
IRS, right
Right.
from fucking Sumeria till now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why no one messes with
yeah,
them.
they're
They're the oldest.
they run the world. Yeah,
Yeah, they're the
but
real Illuminati.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah, it's like they fucking stretch across eons. But I was gonna say,
Yeah.
so writing would definitely. I mean, again, nothing. Obviously, the internet that wouldn't survive. Any
Hmm.
things like pictures. I mean,
Yeah.
those would decay. You'd have
Yeah.
some in like basements somewhere that would survive.
Hmm.
But like
Yeah.
shit that would really probably have like street signs, right?
Yeah.
If any
Yeah.
engravings.
Yeah.
Think
Any sort of vinyl signs would survive just fine because those are uh, plastic
mm,
technically, so those would last for a while. But again, if they lose what writing is, those are just symbols.
Yeah.
I guess the first one would probably be like a kind of pictograph thing, like drawing of a bird and then like
Yeah.
a dash over to the word for bird, basically, and
Yeah.
just have like a
Okay.
long list of that. Because
Okay.
then you can have they know what
They
the
would decipher.
symbols mean, and then you could on the next one have real basic
Mm,
sentences and kind of
mm,
build up from there.
mm. Yeah, you would have.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to look at like what was the natural progression of shit. What are things they noticed? They from the way back
Yeah.
in the dawn of time. What did they notice? They noticed the stars, the
Yeah.
seasons, all the pagan religions.
Yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
sun, the equinox,
Yeah, the solstice and equinox have always been huge.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like what that's. I mean, that's literally like Christmas, right?
Yep. Oh
It's
yeah.
Easter. It's about the rising of the sun. It's
Yeah. Yeah, to celebrate that winter's coming to an end, the days are getting longer, we'll get more
yeah,
sunlight.
yeah.
And
Crops are growing, flowers
yeah.
are blooming. Yeah, so you have
Mhm.
stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
You have um
So yeah, that would be good. Yeah, some sort of
the pagan
astronomical thing,
religion.
because that would
Yeah,
definitely help them
yeah.
for
Just
sure.
because even that, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how they used to know like when the seasons were coming because
Yeah.
the like the precession of the whatever the fuck it is, some Graham Hancock shit. Like the stars shifting in the sky,
Mhm.
different phases of the moon,
Yeah.
um, the planets, because I mean,
Mhm.
that took a long fucking time to figure out.
Oh yeah.
Um, that you'd have to you'd I don't know, man, woman, I don't know, like birth, child
Yeah.
coming from, um,
Yeah.
I don't water. You'd have. I'm trying to think, but I don't think they would be need to be told water. That's just an instinct.
No. It would just be more for like understanding later texts.
You had to make
Yeah.
fire.
Oh, that
So
would be a good one.
you
Yeah.
really gotta like, how far back
Yeah.
are we looking? Like, are we going so
That'd be way far back. But I mean, worst case scenario,
worst case scenario?
that could be
Would you
because I mean,
even?
think about if we did lose all technology and you're just out there on your own, would you know how to make a fire?
Fuck no. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, well,
exactly.
maybe just because I grew up in human society, I know what fire
Yeah,
is. But
you
if
know
you
what
had
it
never
is,
seen
but
fire,
to, yeah,
yeah,
there'd be no way. But yeah, like that could be lost pretty quick for
I
certain
think
groups.
I
If
think you'd
because all
almost
I would know is like do the like the rub the stick on
yeah.
another stick, but I don't know if I could even successfully
I couldn't.
do
No,
that.
no,
Like,
not at
there's no
all.
way.
I think you would almost because I mean having that would be premium real estate to be on the metal slabs. I
Oh
think
yeah,
one thing you'd almost like attach would be like
yeah.
flint.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It'd be
that
like
could
an
be kind
M.
of funny. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd
have
almost
like
be
little
like an
care
MRE.
packages with each
Yeah,
one. So yeah,
yeah.
so like related to the
Stuff that
town.
like
Well,
can't be explained
yeah,
almost. It would be like I
yeah,
don't know if you've ever watched Steve MRE. Steve 1980. It's a YouTube channel. This guy
yeah.
just he's like this MRE. He's like our age. I'm
Okay.
20. How old are you? I'm 29.
I'm 26.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
he's like in between us.
Okay.
But he goes, but he's got a huge following. But he goes through all these like
Hmm.
MREs from like over the decades, over
Yeah.
the different countries and shit. And it's always about like
Okay.
they got like matches. I mean, literally, he'll go in, he'll
Hmm.
open it, he'll be like, it'd be like there's different kits for if you're shot down over the Pacific. There are different kits for
Yeah.
like if are you on the Western Front in World War One. There are
Okay.
different kits for like are
Interesting.
you in 1988 and you're Delta Force and you're stranded in Russia. It's
Yeah. Huh.
but there is certain stuff, yeah, and they'd have little like that actually be some good inspiration. It has like different
Yeah.
like and then, yeah, that has like little cheat sheets and everything is like
Hmm.
super because it's that's a lot. It's precious real estate because it's
Yeah.
something that the
So it's
soldier
all
has
packed
on him.
real
Yeah,
nicely
it's
and
perfect
yeah.
geometric. It's but
Oh
these
yeah.
maps come out and yeah, it's basic stuff. It's literally like how to start a
Hmm.
fire. It's like
Yeah.
how to literally basic like how to find water. How to
Yeah.
I think you'd almost have to
Huh.
have you'd have like
Something like that.
some
And
map.
honestly, that would work too if because
Yeah,
if we're sending up these satellites, it's gonna probably be like a group of like military people and government people
yeah,
and NASA sending them up anyway. So they'll already have that experience to think
yeah. I'll have
of
that
doing
that
it similar to
mindset.
that.
Have that pure survival mindset.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and it's
would
like
make sense.
yeah,
Just from a world perspective.
yeah.
That
Well,
would
I was
yeah.
thinking as they went on, as they so yeah, I was thinking you'd have these like spheres, right? So you'd have
Mhm.
rings so they hit everywhere on Earth,
Yeah.
but then you'd also have spheres for different times, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Different orbits since they all
yeah,
decay.
Yeah,
Like, because the decay I think is pretty much similar among satellites. It just depend on
I think it's
how
just
far
height.
up it
Yeah,
is.
it's just
Yeah,
height. It's I don't think
yeah,
anything else matters. It's
yeah. I mean,
it,
I guess the gravity would kind of matter, which
well, I mean,
I don't remember the equation is, but I think further away you get less
for
gravity. But
for
I
orbital
think the decay
mechanics.
is basically the same. Like, I
Yeah,
think
no, I'm pretty sure for like orbital
fairly
mechanics,
similar.
like so long as you're outside the atmosphere, I think if
It's
you
pretty
put up
much
like
the same.
a pencil and like an anvil, I'm pretty sure they decay
They'll
at
fall
the
at
same
the
rate.
same
It's
time.
just
It's
speed.
just
It's
yeah, if the
orbital
height's
speed. Yeah,
different, yeah,
that's how
maybe.
you get the time change. Yeah, so
Hmm.
you'd yeah, but I don't know. It's just yeah, thinking military
Yeah,
mindset. How else would you do it? Because like,
yeah.
let's say society was set back. Let's say it was set back like a couple hundred years, and like the
Mhm.
first ones start falling. But it's like shit. These are just like we know this. We already It's like we
Yeah.
know this. It's like there'd still be nuclear bunkers that survive, so there'd still be like
Hmm.
relatively educated people, and it
Oh
because
yeah.
so it'd be like fuck, like um,
Well, I mean, also some things that will survive, like the Vatican has that library
oh yeah,
that's completely environmentally controlled
yeah,
and it's in an actual vacuum. Like the library itself, when no
yeah,
one's in there, there's no air or anything in there. So most of those books will survive for hundreds of years.
yeah. That's true.
So if they have access to stuff like that,
Yeah,
like
that would
then
literally
they
be
will have
like,
a lot of knowledge.
well,
Just they
whoever,
might not be able to do anything because there's not enough people to build
yeah,
back an industry, you
yeah,
know?
dude, that would literally be like a resurrection of like the high priests because
Oh yeah.
they would be the gatekeepers. They would
Yeah.
literally they would be the gatekeepers of knowledge. You
Yeah.
know?
And they would have so much like
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but that's how you'd hang on to that knowledge because just like
Oh yeah.
general like pursuit of power, it's
Hmm.
people would say that they would keep that knowledge for them. It's like
Oh yeah.
originally only the priests could like read the Bible, right? Because only they
Yeah,
knew Latin. The lay people they
exactly.
weren't ready for the word of God,
Yeah,
and
and
it's
that's why they're really pissed off at Luther for
yeah, yeah, for the
translating it and
pieces,
giving it
yeah,
to the people.
yeah. But it literally, and then like the priest, it used to be after that, it was the priest didn't face the
Hmm.
what is it the I don't even know what the correct the crowd of people
Yeah.
there's a specific term for whatever it's and then over time like he faced them and then even then the masses weren't in Latin, it started to be in
Hmm.
English and it was yeah,
Yeah.
so it's knowledge has always been so I was thinking like if we knew these decays were happening
Hmm.
you'd start to be like just I mean power struggle is as old as
Oh
time,
yeah.
it's
Oh yeah.
so it would literally get to a point where it'd be like we know there's another one coming
Yeah,
and
and you have
this
to
one
find
is
the spot and fight other people
what
for
would
it.
it would literally be like this one's would be like a heavy one. It'd be like this one is I don't know. This one's how to
Maybe
produce
like
Kevlar. Just I'm
oh
thinking of like
yeah,
it would be like what are
or
the
like maybe
paradigm
like
shifters?
sanitation or something,
Bulletproof
or
sanitation.
yeah.
This one has like a strain of penicillin on it, in which
Oh,
you have
that
to
would be a
reproduce
good one.
cultures.
Because
Yeah,
then the
it would be
promise would be
cultures.
like it will get rid of plagues.
Yeah,
Is
but it
what the
what
people
it
would
would
be
be
thinking.
is what it would be
Yeah.
is like, all right, we know there's another like relatively advanced because you gotta think not everyone's gonna find these orbits. Some of them are just
Yeah.
gonna like, hit a mountainside and just be buried a
Yeah.
mile in, or some are gonna be in the middle of the Atlantic. We gotta
Yeah.
think. I'm thinking that there'd be different power groups. It'd probably be like governments with
Yeah.
nuclear bunker. You should I'll send it to you. There's a book called Raven Rock by Garrett Graff.
Okay.
It's all about the
Yeah.
nuclear bunkers Eisenhower built.
Oh.
But yeah,
Oh, cool.
it's
Huh.
my favorite book. It is my favorite book.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like so you'd have like different power groups and they'd be you could probably imagine who it'd be, right? It'd probably be
Oh
like
yeah.
the military elite of the US, right?
Yeah.
Political military elite, probably those
Yeah.
of China, Russia, I don't know, India, Pakistan, maybe Britain,
Hmm.
France, all the first world countries. But what I
Yeah.
was thinking is like they would like the new thing would be whatever, let's say a culture of penicillin or
Hmm.
sanitation or I don't know, had developed like certain armors or something. A big step
Yeah.
in like in weaponry or
Yeah.
flight. I don't know.
Oh, flight. Yeah, that would be a pretty good one. Or like how to make like steel would be good if they're
Yeah,
far
yeah,
enough back because it's
yeah,
like with this technology you can make swords and armor that
yeah,
is unbeatable, you
yeah.
know?
And not only that, but
Yeah.
so what it would be is like they'd almost want to be like, we got to get ours and we can't let them
Yeah.
get theirs.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like, we're equal powers right now. And it'd be like, and
And whoever gets it's gonna
whoever
have a
gets
huge
penicillin is going to have
immediate
it's going to be
jump.
like, who gets the A bomb almost. It's going to be like, who,
Pretty much.
but
Yeah,
it would
because
be,
once you get it, you can conquer
yeah,
everything,
because
most likely,
yeah,
pretty
because it would
quick.
be like, I mean, it's almost independent of technology. It doesn't matter if it's knowledge about the A bomb or knowledge about how to make steel, because it would
Yeah.
just be the same leg up, right?
Oh yeah.
So
And
yeah,
plus, I mean, you'd have to think like if they do go far enough back, these would be basically messages from God,
well, that's what
right?
I was thinking. Like,
Is what the people will be thinking too. So just getting it, even if it doesn't help you militarily or anything,
you should
or
be
you
like
might
a
not
religion.
even understand it, you still got it. So that's
Got it
still an
from God.
unknown for your enemies that you can hang over their head like,
Yeah.
I got the message of God. I
Yeah.
have something
So even
crazy
if they
that you
didn't
don't
know what
know.
it was, even if it
Yeah.
wasn't like these powers vying for it,
Yeah.
like the bouquet of roses at a wedding, like here it comes,
hmm
we got to grab it.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if they didn't know what it was, let's just say no one had any knowledge of this, it would
Yeah.
just be, yeah, it would literally be like, whose God is more powerful?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they
Which
wouldn't
one's
know that it was
sending him
all
stuff?
one like system.
Yeah.
They would just
Oh
think
yeah.
like, oh, the Chinese or whatever their name would be,
hmm
people on the Asian continent, they got this one. Like their
Yeah.
God is strong.
Oh yeah.
And you want to be like, no, our God's strong. And yeah, you literally have
Yeah.
like temples built to this shit,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You'd have
And
whole
just thinking about it
society.
too, like the physicists now, astrophysicists, they're really good at predicting orbits and
It
stuff. So
sounds
they
so
might even be able to plan out that each satellite will hit the same area every single time, right?
oh
Because
yeah,
that
you're
would be
right. You're
ideal to
right.
pass on the information
The
too,
same spot.
especially if
Actually,
you
yeah,
do
you're
like the
exactly
different
right.
steps. So they try and have them land in the same spot. And if they
Mm-mm.
did that, then someone's going to take over that spot and just hold it. It's like a big, ridiculous fort
Yeah,
and
make a defensive
you
area
know,
around the perimeter.
yeah, just waiting for it to fall eventually.
Dude, dude, and because
Yeah.
yeah, actually, you're right. I don't. My limited mind, I'm like, you got to put them everywhere so they crash everywhere. No,
Well, that
astrophysics
would still be
still exists.
good too, just as like a backup in case,
Yeah, but you could,
because people
you,
probably won't find the first couple that fall, right?
yeah.
Like unless they're
Actually,
nearby, then they'd see it,
yeah,
satellite come and crash and find it. But if no one's near the first couple, it
yeah,
won't get discovered. So
yeah,
still send them everywhere, but make sure that everywhere is consistent
yeah. Well,
in
yeah,
where
I'm
they're
just thinking of
landing.
like you know, just general like Uncle Sam. Even if
hmm
it's, you can never take nationalism out of the equation. So even if it
Oh
was like
yeah.
to produce these things to survive humanity, there'd still be like, we should make sure they hit around like,
Oh yeah.
they should
Oh, they
only hit
definitely
North
would. Yeah.
America. We don't need to be throwing this stuff to China. Fuck
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Even if it was for like
Just
the
enough
idea would
if
be like,
our
let's
nation
let's
does
keep
survive.
human
Yeah, that's
being
good.
going on. Ultimately be like, let's make sure the US keeps going. So
Yes.
but yeah, that's a good idea because you're right. They would almost hit the same. You could have them hit the same spot,
hmm
and so you could literally do it
Yeah.
on like, and you would do it. You could design it so it was on specific days, like the
Oh,
longest
that's
day,
with
like
the
the
astronomical
equinox.
stuff you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
like
that's
the
great.
day the
Yeah.
sun, like the shortest day of the year or the longest day of the year.
I
Because
do
those are
probably,
two exact days, right?
yeah. I
Same.
probably do the longest day of the year just so that it doesn't get lost in the snow. So if you do
Yeah,
it, Christmas,
yeah,
you'll get lost in the
that's
snow
true.
when it impacts, whereas
So
summer you can find it easy.
you know what you would do?
Huh.
You would choose a coordinate,
Yeah.
specific coordinate, but not just like a random location. You'd want it to like correlate to
hmm
numbers. So I don't know, like
Yeah, that's
you'd
a
want
good
it to
idea.
hit like a specific, like an even coordinate. It wouldn't even be
Yeah.
about location. It would just be because eventually that's something that they would understand eventually, right? You'd be shooting down maps of
Yeah.
the world and you'd be shooting down longitude and latitude.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you'd want these specific coordinates.
Oh, because
Yeah.
then if there's a pattern and they find them, they could go to the other coordinates
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
find any that they might have missed if they
Yeah.
missed
Oh,
any.
yeah. Oh, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Because it'd be like,
And if you think about it, like this is where societies will grow from, right? Because they're the ones getting all the
yeah,
information
that's
too.
when
So it would
we,
also point to other civilizations
oh,
that are probably
fuck.
similar to them
Oh,
to start
fuck.
the global trade system
Yeah.
going again,
So it'd almost be like,
which would be ideal for us planning to rebuild from an apocalypse.
so yeah, you'd almost want to
Yeah.
shoot them like where you'd want to shoot it at like a coastal city. You'd be
Yeah.
like, let's just skip this. Like, you'd be like, let's cut out the middleman. Let's not have these people waste 1,000 years in the desert. Let's put them right
hmm
at, you know, I don't know. It'd be like I don't know, someplace fertile. You'd almost I don't know, you go to, like, maybe somewhere like a New Orleans type or maybe
Yeah.
Southern California or something, like, you'd want it,
Southern
like
California would be pretty solid. Yeah, like Napa Valley kind of
yeah,
thing. Like,
yeah. Not something with, like, non-destructive weather. Oh,
yes.
you don't want barren tundra, you don't want,
No.
like,
Yeah.
Death Valley, you literally yeah, you'd want, like,
Yeah.
SoCal,
Yeah, you
right?
want somewhere where people would live. So yeah,
Yeah,
so river valleys and
yeah,
coasts would be
yeah,
good. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and it would so, yeah, so they'd start building there before they even realize that they're in the ideal location.
Yeah.
You just cut
Yeah,
out a
that would be the
million
ideal
cut
thing.
out, like, 500 years of, like, trial and
Yeah.
error.
Because
Yeah,
otherwise it would just be luck. Like it'd probably be some like
yeah.
traveler just looking up, seeing some ball of fire come and land, and then be like, I'm gonna check that out over there,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
they might not. They just might just be terrified with, oh, what the
The
just run away,
oh
right?
god,
It'd have
yeah,
to be some weird traveler who's just like, oh, that was weird. Let's go
yeah,
see what's over.
yeah, exactly.
They might not, because
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
So
trying to
yeah,
think of,
kind
like,
of
what
near.
else. I wonder if it would you'd almost, like if you could almost attach, like, seeds or something? So
You
it'd be
probably could,
like
because seeds wouldn't they wouldn't break down
they'd
up
survive.
in
No,
space. Yeah.
if you had them, like,
Oh
come
yeah.
out of the thing, right?
Yeah.
You'd have some, like it couldn't be, like, electric powered. You
Huh.
have to have some, like, mechanical, you know,
Yeah.
that, like,
Well,
reentry would burn
ideally,
off the
on
shield.
impact, it would spread the seeds, I
Yeah,
bet.
okay, there you go. Yeah, yeah, it would just
Yeah, because they did do some a similar kind of test. I think back in like '70s maybe, but they were seeing if they could orbital drop food to soldiers was the idea for this project. And so they just stuck like food packs, it was basically like
yeah,
protein bar kind
yeah,
of things in the satellite and just threw it at the Earth basically. And it worked. The food was edible when it landed, but they had like I think it was like 100 bars, and by the time they opened it up the satellite, it was all just one big mess of
yeah.
just it was just one big glob of protein.
Molten protein-ish cloud.
Yeah. It was still edible, so it
Yeah,
kind of worked, but not
yeah,
ideal. So they didn't move forward with it. But the seed thing, if they could get it right, yeah, when it lands, it should shoot out. Or maybe when it enters the atmosphere, since it'll burn off the outsides, if
yeah.
they can
That's what I was saying.
make it
Light
somehow,
shield, so it
it'll
burns
yeah,
off,
burns
boom,
off, and then yeah, as it just falls,
like
just because
1,000
it's
miles
traveling so
spread,
fast, it just
or
spreads
1,000
the
miles spread.
seeds.
Yeah, you could just
Oh yeah, for a
you
very
could
long
literally
distance.
fertilize, like, you could
Yeah.
it'd almost be like remember, was it, Space Shuttle Columbia? Remember how it burned up, but literally, like, people from, like, New York to, like, Dallas could see it? You'd have
Yeah.
something like that. You'd have, like
Oh yeah.
yeah, just
Huh.
releasing shit. And you wouldn't even
Yeah.
have to release, like, every single seed because one
Oh
seed
no.
is gonna replicate, so it's
Yeah. Yeah. You just need a couple to
yeah.
get in the soil.
What I was
Yeah.
thinking is, like, well, what if so you could literally, like you could literally find these, like think of, like, your traditional, like, kind of not just asteroid impact, but almost like
Hmm.
crash where it seems like it's drags through the dirt
Yeah.
and there's the mound at
Oh
the end.
yeah. Yeah.
You could almost find these, like, 100-mile long streaks, but it would just be like, it'd be like barren, barren, and then all
Hmm.
of a sudden there would just be like
Like
this, but it would be made out of like plants.
yeah,
Like, there'd
because
just
it'd
be
be
a
like
streak of
corn or
plant.
whatever they
It'd be like,
left
or you
there.
could almost put on like a colorful flower or something to indicate that this
Oh
is it.
yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
literally be like
Oh, that'd be cool.
if you find like, the bright red flower,
You'll know,
like
yeah,
you know
one of
it's
them's
near.
near. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
that'd
Yeah,
be
but
fucking
then with the seeding too for just like regular food too, that
well,
could
yeah, yeah.
promote
So
people to live there for the
yeah.
next
It'd be
for the
an
next
oasis.
impact.
It'd literally be an oasis, yeah.
Yeah,
But then I was thinking you couldn't
but
have
both
'em
of those would be cool. I mean, you could do both. You could
you
do
you could do
like
everything, yeah, you
you
could
could do the wheat and flowers,
yeah,
each one,
yeah, yeah, maybe flour would be, like, the absolute core, so you'd spread seed,
Yeah.
but, like, only right around the impact site would be, like, the red flower,
Oh,
right?
that's a good idea.
You'd have, like, a whole
Oh
valley of
yeah.
shit that grew for 100 years, and as
Yeah.
you got closer, you'd see, like, by the time you found it, it'd be 100 years, so you might find a whole mountainside that's just, like, red, right? It would just be, like, red flowers and shit. Yeah, so you'd have this, like, whole just where'd you go? Did you freeze up? Joe? Thrak? I think you froze up on me. Did we lose him? Did we lose him? Fuck. He'll be back on in a second. Mr. Joe Johnson. You back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you froze up. Yeah,
Yep.
that happens.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd have like, yeah, you'd find these like streaks of. But I was thinking, so you couldn't even hit them in the same spot though, because if you had people start developing near like the Oasis, right? Well, you don't want
Oh
to
yeah.
pummel that same area with a
That's true. Yeah, because that would
you
kill a
develop this whole,
lot of
and then you'd be like,
them.
"Gift
Yeah,
of
every
God."
couple of years. Just
Boom.
but
Then
that's
you'd be
up to
right
the
back to where
yeah.
the problem you just had, and that'd be no
That's true.
humanity.
Yeah, but that's more of a problem on them. They're the ones that settled there.
But
I
no,
guess you could
but we're
try
telling
and
them to
warn them
settle there.
not to.
But we're
Yeah,
telling them to settle there. We're leaving seeds, right?
ideally, so they get all the information later.
So
I mean, I guess
maybe
after
you
like
move it.
one
Maybe
or
you move it.
two big impacts that kill everyone, they probably settle like the next valley over.
Well, I don't know, man. They might not understand.
That's
They
true.
don't understand
Yeah.
orbital mechanics. They probably aren't. And not only that, even
Yeah.
if they did, they're probably looking at it like lightning's not going to strike twice, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to get hit twice. So
There's no way.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you'd almost want to. I think you would do like you'd want to make a pattern, right?
Hmm.
So it'd be like I don't know, go and find them almost.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You'd want to
Huh.
not only that, I don't you wouldn't want them to hit the same spot twice because what if the second one destroys the first before it's
Oh,
found?
that's true. Yeah.
You have
So
your
you'd want it
basic
at least like
math
a
and then like
couple miles
yeah,
away. Yeah.
yeah, and then you have
Yeah.
one coming down that explains fluid dynamics, but it's
Yeah. But
coming
you
in at
destroyed the
Mach
previous
20
one.
and it vaporizes the first. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm
Huh.
yeah, I'm trying to think of like
Yeah.
or would you just have them all hit in one spot or like relatively near? Because
Yeah.
I mean, what if you're already at steel? What if you're at like 1910?
Yeah.
Nothing digital, but like
Hmm.
we still figured out like
A
combustion
lot of
engines, like
stuff.
almost like
Yeah.
Model Ts. Like
Hmm.
fuel would be very rare, but even then, it's like I mean, 1910 technology wasn't too much more advanced than like 100 years prior. So
No, yeah.
here's
Yeah,
basic
because
fuel.
technological advancement, that's an exponential curve
Yeah,
too.
so it's like the distance between like 1800 and 1900. It's like you could almost pinch it together.
Oh
And
yeah.
so but yeah, so like if you had all these people going around like Model Ts and shit with some
Hmm.
relative, and then like the first decay comes down and it's like how to make steel, but it's like what the fuck we know
Yeah, they
that,
figured
right?
that.
It's
Yeah.
like they'd be like they'd already have the telegraph and shit, so
Hmm.
you'd want a way to be like, oh well, fuck,
Yeah.
penicillin's not coming down for another 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing was so
Hmm.
what's the difference in orbits? What's the
That's a good question. Yeah, because I don't know. That's probably more of a math question, honestly, for
well,
the so
well
phys
no
like
well you'd want
because
to
how accurate can you make
no
the
they can
orbital
make them.
decay? Pretty
Think dude,
good.
that's how we were able to get to the moon in the '60s is because
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
literally comes down to like if you can like see where the moon is, know where the Earth is, and know a couple of
Hmm.
variables. I mean, dude, that's why that's why once we map one asteroid, that's why it's mapped forever. Is because we know
Yeah.
it's
Because we
like
know exactly where it's
that's
gonna
how like
be.
we know like in I think it's like 2039 we know on the exact day that an asteroid is going to be passing between the moon and us. It's because
Yeah.
there's no variables. We know it's orbital mechanics. There's nothing out there
Hmm.
touching it. We know where
No.
it's going.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
but yeah, you got to think you'd want to plan for
Yeah.
the worst. You'd be
Yeah,
like,
because
okay,
worst case, you'd probably do it at least every couple decades so that they can really digest the information and build off it on
yeah,
their own before they get the next one.
that's
Because
true.
ideally, they'd already be trying to fix these problems, and then this tablet comes and it just provides the answers for what they're trying to already do.
Yeah,
Would
like
be the
they're
ideal
that
thing,
like
but
barrier
if
and
it's not that far enough far back, they'll solve the problems a lot quicker on their own,
yeah.
and so they might never
But the
like
thing
the
is,
tablets might never ever catch up,
yeah.
unless they go a completely different direction with their technology.
Oh shit! What if they branch off in a
Right.
way that we didn't
With
even?
it, yeah. Like that's one thing I've always
That's a
found
head fuck.
would be
Yeah. What
interesting
if
with
we
like
went to?
aliens is the different technologies because they
Yeah.
went a completely different route.
It's like Bob Lazar said. He was like, "How do we not know that aliens just like the first thing they figure is like what if they live in like a very uranium-rich world and they just discover
Mhm.
nuclear power in the equivalent of like the 1100s,
Yeah,
and they just skip the middle ground. It's
yeah. Or for example, like
getting up on
Australia,
yeah.
the people in Australia, they are the only culture that never made arrows. Every other
Hmm,
culture natively figured out how to make bow and arrows,
that's
but
weird.
the Australian people never did. Or like South America, there are no wheels. They never invented the wheel.
That's
Like the Incas never had wheels. That's why they had alpacas
yeah,
transport everything because they never invented the wheel, but they still had a math system,
yeah,
like a full math system,
weird. So,
right?
yeah,
So it
you'd
can
wanna
branch out like
study
crazy.
yeah, so you'd wanna study,
Yeah.
like, the similarities in old culture. What are the true
Yeah.
universal it would be math.
Yes. Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
math, geography, because it's
Yep.
not
Geography would be
geography
huge.
is geography. It's not doesn't
Hmm.
matter what you make, what you
Yeah.
think about it. It's yeah, it's
Yeah.
but what I was thinking is, you know, it's like when you play through a video game the first time,
Hmm.
and we've already gone for an hour, by the way, so if at any point
Oh shoot.
if any point you need to go,
Yeah.
let me know because I'll keep
I mean, I
talking.
do have plans later, but I don't know what time those are. Let's see if my friend's
Yeah,
texted
just
me.
tell me. We can do 5 more minutes,
Um,
we can do 30, I don't give a shit. Whatever you want.
we can keep going for a while.
Alright,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, I don't care, I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck. Yeah, just let me know when
Okay.
you gotta go. I take no
Yeah.
offense to it, I don't
So
care.
yeah,
Yeah,
one question I do have.
yeah.
What's this podcast gonna look like for me though, since we've just been brainstorming this? Is this going in the podcast? Because it's fine if it is.
I don't give a
But
shit, man, it's whatever you want.
yeah.
I was gonna say, well, what I was serious when I said it. I can just, like, delay uploading this if you wanna, like, use this and write about it, if you don't want anyone else to snag it.
Yeah, well, to write about it, I mean, before someone snags it, I'd have to publish it. It's basically what would have to happen.
Well,
That's
what I'm saying is that there's no
years.
rush. I can just put it on the hard drive and just or I can just we can go right up until we start talking about this. I can upload that part.
That's
I
true. That
personally
wasn't
don't care. I
that
personally
wasn't
don't
too
care, dude.
long though before
Who gives a
I
shit, dude?
done this.
I had an episode last week that was 29 minutes. It was literally
Oh,
29
okay.
minutes.
Oh shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, I've 29 minutes. I've had ones that are upwards of 5 hours. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's my podcast, dude. I don't have a boss. It's me. There's no
Yeah.
one I don't if this
Yeah.
podcast is too short, fuck off, unsubscribe. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
Um,
No, because
but
I think this is a pretty cool conversation. I
yeah,
think this would make a good
I think
podcast.
it would make it I would read the fuck out of that
Dude.
book and listen to the fuck out of that podcast.
Yeah.
So I was serious when I said, like, if you don't want anyone else to scoop it and, like, don't feel, like, rushed, like, "Okay, well, I gotta write
Mhm.
now and publish it."
Oh,
No,
no, I
dude,
mean, I definitely because
I'll put it on
I
an
mean, I'm working
external.
on this series,
Yeah,
so
I'll put it on
I
an external,
won't get
man.
it
I'll
for
just
years.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
That's
can
the
just
thing. But
or we can put it out and just hope someone else doesn't take it. I don't it makes no
I'd
difference
say
to me.
I'd say put it out.
Alright,
Maybe
I don't care. I don't
uh,
give a shit. I just don't want
yeah, just
someone to scoop it and you'd be like,
yeah.
"Fuck," 'cause I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna write about it. It's,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I was gonna say, if you want, I'll
No,
just
I mean, I have plenty of book ideas already. So if
yeah,
someone steals it, not the
yeah,
worst thing.
alright, yeah,
And I mean, I'm still not a famous author.
yeah,
So I mean,
not
this
yet.
for me is a huge marketing opportunity. So
Yeah,
even if someone does steal it, that does mean that
yeah,
this podcast got out there, which helps me and helps you
that's true,
hugely. And I think
true.
this is a pretty interesting podcast if we really
Yeah,
want to say.
I think it's really
Oh yeah,
fucking interesting. Yeah, so fuck it.
yeah,
But
yeah. I'd say yeah,
yeah, put
upload
it out,
everything
fucking
except for
alright. Yeah,
this
yeah, let it
conversation
happen.
right here. Obviously, probably
Yeah,
cut out.
I'll probably cut out that, yeah.
But yeah, but keep
I'll
the
cut out
brainstorming because
yeah.
that's cool
I'll
stuff.
I'll write down that timestamp. It's let's see. Whoops. No. It's God damn it. Fucking technology. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll cut out that spot. But yeah, so it's fuck what we so what I was thinking is like it's almost like when you play through a video game, right? And it's
Mhm.
the first time you play through, it takes a while. But once you start
Yeah.
going back through and you already know what you have to do,
Mhm.
even if there's a certain amount of stuff that you just have to do,
Mhm.
and it's like there is a time aspect to it that you just can't rush, but you already know where to go. You already know where all
Yeah.
the Easter eggs are.
Yeah.
You can like the first time I played Grand Theft Auto it took me like 3 weeks to beat.
Yeah.
Now I can beat the campaign on in like one 20-hour sitting.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So the thing is like it, these drops wouldn't need to be thousands of years apart. That's how long it
Mhm.
took us to find out.
Yeah.
You
But if
could
we're
just
helping
drop
them
them.
along the way,
Yeah. You
it'll be
would
a
just
lot quicker.
yeah, you would just drop them like, you
Yeah.
know, it's
Every
almost like you could force the exponential instead of there 1,000 year or a
yeah.
million years between. I mean, how long did it take to go from like crops to like sailing to the new worlds. I mean, that's like 10,000 BC to like 1492. It's 11
Yeah,
and a half thousand years. Like, but in
ridiculous.
terms of like how difficult is that technological growth? You could probably teach someone in the same afternoon how to plant
Oh yeah,
crops and how to, and explain that the
yeah,
earth is round, right?
oh
So you
yeah,
wouldn't have to, it wouldn't have to be 11,000 years. You could drop them in like
yeah.
one drop, and then 10 years later, you
That's
could be like,
true.
this is how you build a right flyer, right?
Yeah.
It's
Huh.
I mean, I think it was Joe Rogan that said, he's like, if you took someone from 10,000 BC,
Mm-hmm.
brought up like they're almost identical to us. Like the only difference is
Yeah.
culture. You'd have to teach them language, and then you'd be like,
Yeah.
this is math. But within like a couple of years, you could take a caveman and have them pretty much blend in with society, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Aside
I
from like maybe
remember
some
so.
anatomical differences, you could
Yeah.
pretty much like have them talking like you and me. You could have them living in an apartment with like,
Yeah.
paintings on the wall with a kitchen and a
Yeah.
fridge and a girlfriend and a little dog. Like, so
Yeah.
it's not necessarily like difficult. It's just how long it took to get here.
Yeah.
So yeah, would
So
you even
yeah.
have to
Yeah.
do that? It would just
Might not have to yet.
wouldn't have to be thousands of years.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you would do it. So maybe you
You'd
wouldn't
want to
have.
probably do on a curve. You probably do like do first drop and then the second drop maybe like 5 years later, and then like three,
Yeah,
2, 1, and then like each month just peg
yeah,
them with stuff.
yeah. And then
And I mean, worst case, they get one of these things and they don't know
don't know
how to
what to
use
do
it.
with it.
Like,
And they just hold on to
yeah, but they'd still just keep it because it is
it
still
from the
a
gods.
thing that fell from heaven. Like,
Yeah,
what the heck?
it's a thing they built.
So they'd still hold on to it and they'd still study it, especially once they figure out that they do have information that can help them. They
Yeah,
would keep studying
well,
it
they did
until they
forever.
figure out what it means. Anyway,
I mean, it'd be like,
so
Bob Lazar claiming that we have like an alien saucer. He'd be like, we don't know how
yeah,
to use it, but we don't want anyone
yeah,
else to take it. So we have it
yeah,
stored away in Area 51. He's like, we don't know
yeah,
how to use it, but we know it's.
yeah,
So what I was thinking is, just as you said that, it's from the gods. It would,
yeah.
but you don't, just in case, you'd almost want to also appeal to like, like you'd want the drop to be super comprehensive. Maybe you pick it up and it's people from the
Mhm.
1900s, maybe it's people from 9000 BC. So you'd almost
Yeah.
want to apply to everyone. So one thing you would do is you'd almost like it would almost have like you'd want to have like a gold plating, or you'd want to have like
Mhm.
some diamond pieces in it. You'd
Oh,
want
to
something that
make
would
sure that they
catch
keep
the
it, yeah.
eye of like,
You honestly, if they
think
just
about
do
like
it with
King Tut.
stainless steel, that should work. Stainless steel, they wouldn't have stainless steel,
Yeah. No, but
and that lasts forever. Like
yeah, no,
it
no, it
doesn't
lasts forever.
glow
No, 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 not at all. But I'm
very
saying it is
quickly.
like
It'd be
you
super bright and shiny
yeah,
if
you
it's
that's what I'm getting at. It's not
and stick
because
like a
like
chrome plating on it.
you'd want stuff to
Yeah,
be like, I mean, think of all the old like stuff. What do you have?
yeah,
You're covered in gold. You've got the
yeah.
gems,
Oh
and
yeah.
even if they have no value, like you can't use them for science or crops.
Hmm.
But look at King Tut. The dude was fucking. His sarcophagus was made of gold. It was
Oh
just
yeah.
fuck you, I'm royalty, right? So that's what it
Yeah,
would be. You'd want
yeah.
that's
That's a good idea.
so
And
you'd want it
probably
to be like
since this is with our technology, we could make it something that they wouldn't have, but they'd still like to keep. So I'm thinking like stainless steel with like kind of like a chrome plating on that
chrome
stainless
plate.
steel,
Chrome would do it.
because they wouldn't really have that. Like
We're gonna have
it
chrome.
would look silvery and really cool, but they wouldn't know what it is. They wouldn't know how to make it. It'd be the only stuff that has that, and it'd still
Mhm.
be shiny and look precious
Mm,
like gold or silver.
godlike, yeah.
Yeah. So
You'd
then
want
they definitely keep it around.
you know what you'd also want? You'd also want, like, shapes, because they wouldn't have the ability to produce a sphere. So you'd want, like, a
Oh.
perfect sphere.
Oh.
Think, like,
Yeah.
you could make a circle. You can make a circle with, like, dirt,
Oh
but
yeah.
imagine, like, a sphere, like a
Yeah, like a
bowling ball.
polished quartz sphere. That's
Oh,
like,
you just
oh,
that is something
because
where it's
they would
like,
see that and
"What
be
is
like,
that?"
ow. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd want
Oh,
it
that's
that
a good idea. Yeah. Some like artsy stuff that they wouldn't be able to
they wouldn't
produce.
have, yeah.
Like so stuff that would require like a lathe or a mill to make. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. You
Or
yeah,
CNC. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, if we did some of the really crazy stuff they do with like the laser cutting CNCs on metal. Like, have you seen those where they put them
yeah,
together? You can't even see
where it's just
where the
seamless,
cuts were. Yeah,
and it's
stuff
like
like that.
yeah, so they would see this and they'd
Yeah,
be like, "No one on earth can produce this." So they'd be like, "No one on earth can produce this." So they'd be like, "No one on earth can produce this." So they'd be like, "No one on earth can produce this." So they'd be like, "No one on earth can produce this." So they'd be like, "This is
yeah,
something." Is
Yeah.
this just what the pyramids are?
I think that was kind of the idea of the pyramids. Is just something huge that when people say, we'd be like, "There's no way we made that," but they
Don't they
did.
also like
Yeah.
align with the stars? Yeah, maybe this is
I think
hap-
the
maybe
pyramids
this has already
might. I know
happened, man.
Stonehenge definitely does.
Yeah,
No, might
maybe
have
this
as
has
well.
already
But
happened.
yeah, they just
Just
made it real basic, like because we're thinking like have this technology drop, but yeah, maybe they
yes,
just made
they
it more basic
build it into the
for the
earth
people
itself.
to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you would. Yeah,
Hmm.
know what you would do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd go farther and far. Yeah, maybe you'd leave stuff on the far side of the moon,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So literally, like just keep egging them along.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like, yeah,
Hmm.
you would have,
Yeah,
but
that would be interesting. Oh,
yeah,
that would actually be really fun. Yeah. So you have them leading up technology with clues on where the next drop's going to be and kind of like
yeah,
what time it's going to be. And then, yeah, you lead like the next big one, the last one's on the far side of the moon. So
yeah.
then they have to, because
They
this
have
is like
to
a
go.
spiritual thing that they've got going for thousands of years at this point.
Oh
So
yeah,
they have to get the technology to get to the far side of the moon to find this drop, and
yeah,
then they could hit it. The next drop's on Mars,
yeah,
which it obviously it's not going to be,
yeah.
but you tell these
They
people
could-
that's going to be on
That's why
Mars,
you make them
and that
interplanetary,
forces them to do the
and
technology to get off Earth to
so that this doesn't happen again,
exactly, and you just lead them to that conclusion.
dude. That's the end of the book. That's
Oh, that would
that's why I'm
actually that'd
saying,
be
man, you got to write a book. This is why I'm saying,
dude.
like, do we hold
Yeah,
off
that'd
on?
be super cool.
That's a really cool book.
Yeah.
So this
Oh,
doesn't happen again.
yeah. And they just lead them there. Obviously, the last drop they'll be disappointed because there's no drop, but
Yeah,
then they'll realize that that's the purpose, and
because
that
we
the
the reason
gods
there's no
weren't real. The gods were just people.
we're just you, yeah.
Yeah,
Or it
all
would be
along.
is like the next drop would you would just find like our rovers or something, and it would just be
Yeah,
like there is no drop because we never got there to do a drop.
yeah,
Like this is
exactly.
you are to do what we didn't do, right?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe, and that would be maybe the message on
Yeah.
that one.
Well, that's
Anyways,
what it
just
would be because if we got to Mars,
yeah,
this wouldn't be a problem.
exactly.
Or, or
I mean, we can drop some on Mars. We
yeah,
do have
that's
the
what I'm saying.
technology.
You
It's
find
just
our rovers, but
can't pick it up.
or or you find an advanced outpost on Mars, and the entire thing was to
Ooh,
come establish contact so they can
yeah.
come back to Earth.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, because they
That's the
haven't been
fuck.
able to like
They
really
can't get back,
survive on Mars very well, and
so they're just waiting.
and they've just been shooting these satellites trying to.
Fuck,
Oh, that would be fun. That would be really fun. Oh yeah,
that would be a
because
heck
yeah,
of
they're
a
like
half.
slowly dying on Mars because they can't get like
Yeah,
farming and stuff working quite right. So they're kind of like
or they'd all be in like
declining.
it'd be from like it'd be like from Interstellar. They'd be where they
Yeah.
go into like cryogenics and like they can send out like an emergency
Hmm.
SOS and you come wake them. So they'd go there and they'd wake up all these humans. Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
they would have been out for 10,000 years or something.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, that's a pretty cool. That's a good ending too. Shoot, both of those are
Yeah,
great endings.
man, I was
Hmm.
fuck. Yeah, we're man.
Yeah.
Now my head's spinning, dude.
Yeah.
You need to write a book, man. You should
This would be epic. This would
that
be
would be an
really
epic
good.
book. That would be
Yeah.
an epic book.
Oh yeah. That'd be crazy. Again, then it'd be kind of like like you can make like a steampunk world too with
Yeah,
that, right? Because
absolutely.
they would be just behind where we're at now for both those scenarios,
Yeah,
but with the technological divergence or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
It'd be a
yeah,
weird sci-fi world,
yeah.
kind of like ooh, could kind of be like Planet of the Apes, where you don't even reveal that it's our world, right? 'Cause technology be
Oh
different, and
shit.
then
Yeah.
yeah,
Or it'd be
to be kind of cool for the world building side of things. Yeah,
yeah.
be
Yeah.
like
I
a
wonder if it'd be like
steampunk or cyberpunk kind of
yeah,
world.
yeah,
Cyberpunk. I love cyberpunk, but
yes. Steampunk's cool. Diesel punk. Weird. It's cool.
oh yeah, dieselpunk. That one's always
Dude,
interesting.
what if it was like what if the satellites started almost like the drops almost started becoming like threats instead? It was like you need to
Oh
get off the earth. You need to get
Oh,
off the earth.
yeah. Like
You
warnings about like plagues and things and
coronavirus.
yeah.
That's how you
Oh
could tie it
yeah.
in, man.
Yeah. Huh.
And
Yeah,
it.
if we did in this world, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
do it like a suspenseful thriller kind of
Bring it
thing, like
back to like right
Dan
now.
Brown.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
like kind of like the Dan Brown kind of novel sort of
Yeah, you go from
style.
yeah.
That yeah. There's a lot of ways you could go with this, honestly. Like
Man, you get
you could do old school fantasy, like Bronze Age fantasy, where they're fighting over the drop zone, and
yeah. How far back does it go? Yeah,
or you
it's
could do like a modern mystery or post-apocalyptic sci-fi,
yeah.
kind of thing, or steampunk
Or is it still happening right now and it's
or
they gotta
modern
find the
world.
next
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah, that was the Dan
that's
Brown.
what the
Yeah, that's
Apollo
what I was saying. With the
yeah,
Dan Brown is
I was gonna say,
modern
that's what the Apollo
society,
program was.
and this is happening, but the governments are covering it up.
Because it's the equivalent of the nuke. It's like who has
Exactly.
the next weapon? I was
Yep.
saying that's what the
Yeah.
Apollo program
Yeah.
was. That's why
Yeah.
we had to beat the Russians.
Yeah.
Because it almost doesn't make sense when you're like, I mean, yeah, go to the moon and beat the Russians propaganda, but it's like, is it really worth
Yeah.
5% of the GDP?
Oh yeah.
What if it was like, no, we have to beat the Russians because the next drop is on the backside of the moon?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that could be really cool. Yeah, and then the next drop
like
is
Pluto. That's why we're sending out
yeah,
all these probes. Why is NASA
yeah.
spending so much money? And it's like, we got to get to Pluto.
And they are this year they are revamping some of the astronaut programs as well to
So
go back up to the moon. Like, have you heard about like they're planning on doing a moon base
I
right now?
hope so. Well, yeah, I had a guy on
Yeah.
from NASA who's working on the
Oh,
SLS.
nice.
Yeah, he talked. I think it's like in the 50s. I'll send it to you. But he talked
Yeah.
about the SLS program, and he's like, yeah, all about establishing colonies up there. But yeah,
Yeah.
you'd almost have to have like covers because ideally it would be these drops are for humanity,
Yeah.
but naturally the power structures would start to seize them for their own.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And it'd be like that's what the Apollo program was, but we had to chalk it up as the Cold War, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And then maybe it would be like maybe the next drop was in like Iraq. And so we had to
Yeah.
use like 9/11 and like the Iraq war as we needed a reason
To
to go
go get it.
occupy that whole
Oh
land
yeah. Do the whole
because it was
conspiracy
going to drop
theory
somewhere. Yeah.
thing.
So we had to
Yeah.
almost cordon
Oh.
off the whole country. How do you
Oh,
do
that'd be
that?
cool.
By sending over 500,000 troops. Vietnam.
Hmm.
Why were we in
Yeah.
Vietnam? We had to
Had to
take
get the next
over that
thing.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that ties in really well too if you do wars, because wars are usually a huge jump in technology anyway.
Absolutely. There's an
You
also
know,
quote,
like
yeah, war is the engine of progress.
yeah, like World War One was a huge jump in chemistry
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
replaceable parts and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff,
Maybe
and
that's what World
airplanes.
War II was like. Maybe they all knew the drop was coming, and that's like,
Yeah,
and like you could. So yeah, so it's like the next drop was like the A bomb technology, and so
yeah,
what World War II was is like
just a big
we
fight to
got our drop in Nevada. We knew
yeah,
it was coming, but we
yeah,
had to go fuck up Germany and Japan because we didn't
because
want them
those
to
are
get
the
their
other
drops.
drop spots.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
went and fucked them up, and we went and fucked up. Yeah, when we went and fucked up Japan because we were like, we cannot let them get it, and it was like, yeah, we have to. Fuck. Yeah.
oh
And
yeah,
then
that'd be cool.
the Cold War would have been like, yeah, that'd be like a divergence in like former allies, which is what happened, Soviets and
Yeah,
America, because they started keeping their own drops. And
yeah,
that's what the Cold War was. It was a giant hemispheric,
yeah.
like
And
trillion.
with the rise of spies too at that time would make sense
Yeah,
because way back
absolutely.
in the day you'd use massive armies to get the drop spot. But since the governments kind of want to hide where they're getting this information,
More incognito.
they go for the spy angle during the Cold War
Yeah.
to
It starts becoming more
get
and more
stuff.
esoteric. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is what the moon would be. It would be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a cool angle too. Shoot.
What was the Cuban Missile Crisis? I don't
Ah,
know if that or if that was just tensions
hmm.
in general boiling over.
Yeah, that's just yeah, basically tensions. I mean, sneaking in the nukes there, but
That was 6 years before the moon, so it could
yeah.
almost be like the
Ooh, yeah, like
Soviets
the Bay
knew
of
that.
Pigs invasion. Like
Yeah,
it failed, but in reality it succeeded. That on
they
that
got the
beach was
thing.
actually the
They
drop.
got
It was just
okay.
to get the drop,
It's like
and
so
then
the Bay of Pigs was actually Kennedy's finest hour.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one knows about it.
yeah. Because it was like
And
have to
that's
get
why
the
the
drop, but then
Soviets were
also to
willing.
do the coup was
Yeah,
like the cover story for
to
why
cover.
they were there,
And that's why
and
the
then
Soviets were willing to fucking bring on World War III, because they were like,
yeah,
it's like, why else? Really? We got the nuclear powers about to go at it because of Cuba?
yeah,
Not New York or Moscow, but I mean, I know why. It's because they have missiles.
yeah,
But still, it'd be like,
yeah.
that's what the embargo. Yeah, and it was literally like the Soviets were like, if we can't have it, no, because they were like, if
Hmm.
the Americans get it, well, then we're already fucked. So it's basically, it almost like
Hmm.
mutual assured destruction. Be
Oh
like,
yeah, and then
we're
yeah, for
getting
the
it or no
Russians,
one's getting it.
that's how they were going to get it. They were going to provide Cuba with the missiles, which means they would have troops on the ground. They're already setting up
To go
the
pick
missile
up.
silos and stuff. And then while they're there, they might as well just sneak over and pick up the drop already. And that's
Maybe,
their excuse to get in is helping Cuba.
yeah,
But in
yeah,
reality, they're screwing over Cuba
yeah,
by taking the drop
yeah.
from them.
Or maybe it was literally
Uh,
like, maybe it was literally like
uh,
that's what they were so because it was whoever gets the next drop, it was like you're gonna win, like you can take over
yeah,
whoever.
yeah, you'll be
So
the
that's
next
why we were
superpower.
willing to like bring on World War III, or maybe it was a compromise, maybe because
Yeah,
we were both showing that we weren't bluffing. Maybe it was
yeah,
like, all right, we both get the drop because we're ready to fucking kill each other.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't know, something like that, or be
yeah.
or maybe it was a dud, maybe it wasn't there.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, that could tie in really well because that's right before we went to the moon, right?
6 years before.
Yeah, exactly. So World War II, one of the big jumps was in missile technology. Like that was the big
Me
physics
too.
problem that was being solved. So that was the drop for
Setting
that
you
one
up
is the
for the
missiles.
for 6.
And then the next drop is how to get to the moon, how to make like ships that can
How
send
to make
humans up into space to the
yeah.
moon is the next drop,
That's what Operation
right? And
Paperclip
that's
was. That's why we had
yeah,
brought over all the Nazi scientists because we were like, they
yeah.
got the drop.
Yeah, they got the old drop, and the next drop's coming in. All the drops have been technology that leads off each other,
Yeah,
and that would be a perfect progression there for that.
yeah,
Because then 6 years later, after getting the drop, we make it to the moon.
yeah,
Other people don't because they didn't get the drop.
exactly. Or the Nazis got
Uh,
like the rocket drop or something.
yeah,
Or maybe it's like different ones. We got the A bomb drop. The
yeah,
Nazis got rocket technology drop.
that's yeah.
And I don't know,
Oh,
maybe
that'd be cool.
The Nazis effectively hit it. Like to this day, no one knows where it was.
Yeah,
We just said the next best thing is, well, let's go steal all the guys that know about the drop, right? So it's
yeah,
literally let's go get all the scientists because Russia got
yeah,
a third of the scientists. We got 2/3. They got 1/3.
yeah.
You could say that's why we got to the moon. It's because we had
We
66%
had yeah,
computing power.
more
They
of
only
them.
had 33. That would be the
Yeah.
So the drop is
Oh,
on
that's
the moon.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then what? We stopped going to the moon. Is there another
yeah.
thing? Is there another drop in? You know about the
Huh.
asteroid in 1908 in Tugunska,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Russia?
The
The
huge
asteroid that came in.
explosion. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's one.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they said that thing came over and it blew up and it flattened like 100 million trees or something.
Yeah, and no one knew what it was at the
Yeah,
time. It was, yeah,
exactly. Maybe that
crazy.
1908. I don't know. 6 years before World War One.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, had a bunch of chemistry stuff in it
Oh
for
yeah.
the
Yeah.
gases.
Chlorine gas. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Fuck.
maybe even some flying stuff too to keep
Yeah.
it
Wright
with
flyer.
the
Yeah. Wright
getting to
flyers.
space. Yeah,
1908.
because
I mean, 1902. We had our first flyer.
yeah, we had our first one, but I mean, look at the jump between 1908 when we had our first flight
Mm,
to World War One. Like
mm.
we went from having basically a plywood thing with canvas that would go a couple feet and you kind of fall down to planes that have machine guns
Yeah.
on them
Yeah.
and like propellers and they can do
Yeah.
barrel rolls and
Yeah.
you have the dogfights out there. Like that's a huge jump really
That's
quick, which
massive.
makes sense because the war funded all that research
Yeah.
to get to that point.
Yeah.
In a
The
conspiracy
the drop.
theory
Yeah.
novel, it could be
Yeah.
the drop.
Dude, maybe that's because up until then the biggest flight was just dirigibles, right? Zeppelins.
Yeah, pretty much. Dirigibles and Zeppelins and yeah.
Dude, maybe that's what Columbus coming across the ocean was. We
Yeah,
have to
he knew
get
the
to the
drop was
drop.
coming.
We got to get to the drop. So we came in here and just fucked up all the fucking Native Americans. We're like, we
To
got to
make
get,
sure they don't get the
or maybe
drop,
they
yeah.
had it and they didn't know what it was. They got one of those ones that
Oh
was too
yeah.
far ahead because they were
Yeah.
very like land, nature, and it's like, or yeah, it's
Yeah.
didn't like mines like not know the value of gold or something. Wasn't
Um,
one of them that didn't they liked it,
I
but
don't
they
know
didn't
if
know
that's
that
the mines. Yeah, maybe.
Aztecs. I don't know. There's one group that like They
See,
liked it, but
that
they
sounds like the Aztecs because they had a lot of like gold jewelry, but they didn't
it
trade
was
it or
was it was
anything.
just whatever.
Yeah, it just looked pretty and yeah.
Yeah. And oh yeah, the white man came over and we were like, "Hey yo," you know?
Can we have some of that?
Yeah. Or it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, didn't like some of the Indians they had Manhattan Island and we came over and
Hmm.
traded it for a couple shells.
Yeah.
And we set up a
Yeah.
new Dutch outpost and we're still getting benefits from it today, Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Yeah, and it would be something happened in like Iraq. And it
Yeah.
would be, yeah, I don't know. And that's like no one because no one quite knew why we invaded Iraq.
Yeah.
Like maybe the US government didn't do 9/11 so much as they like let it slip through the net because they're like, if
Hmm.
they do this, we know it's bin Laden. Like we're
Hmm.
like our surveillance net's catching it, and we're like, let's let it go through because this
Yeah.
means that we can invade Afghanistan, and then we
Yeah.
can just sort of bullshit by
Yeah.
association, jump into our
Hmm.
WMDs, whatever.
Yeah. Well, they didn't find WMDs, but they found the
They
drop.
found the drop. They found the drop. Well, 'cause didn't like a ton of fucking like didn't the US military like one of the first things it's actually weird. One of the first things we did in Iraq is like we like secured like all of the museums. And like
Oh,
to this
really?
day, most of
Huh.
the shit is still missing. Granted, it probably just went the black
Interesting.
market, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's leading to the next drop. And it would
Yeah. Oh, that is kind of interesting. I mean, I get why they did that because
yeah,
um,
historically
they
and
were destroying a lot of old history over there.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, for a conspiracy novel though, it's a great one because it's
yeah,
like doesn't really make sense.
yeah,
But then,
yeah.
yeah, huh?
Maybe Columbia didn't crash. Maybe that was the drop.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted everyone to think it was just a space shuttle. So instead of like, oh, the Americans got another drop, instead everyone felt bad for us. But in
Yeah.
reality, we are just like hide it in plain sight. So
Yeah.
here you go. Dude,
Yeah.
oh man, you could do like the black box in Mecca. That could be like a
Oh.
drop, but they don't know
Oh
it
yeah.
is. But it's
Because it's way too
impossible for us because
advanced.
we're like, that's the
Yeah.
one thing we can't get. It's their holy spot. There will be global war. Maybe
Yeah.
that's like the end all be all is like the Mecca drop. But everyone's like,
Yeah.
we can't touch that or there
Oh.
will literally be global war.
Yeah.
Maybe that
Oh.
because it's a very like
That could be cool.
psychedelic thing. Maybe that's like the end game drop.
Yeah,
Just
and we
like
just don't know what it is yet. They know it's something, so they've kind of hidden it.
it's
Because it was illegal for a long time for anyone that wasn't Muslim to go to
yeah,
Mecca, by the
yeah,
way, which is so yeah, they could just
crazy.
be hiding it. Like they know it has info, but they can't
Yeah,
understand it yet, so they're
and
just
you
holding
don't
it.
yeah, and we don't wanna openly, like, go after it because that gives it away.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like we when we started bombing, like, the hard water plants in Germany or heavy water plants,
Hmm.
we were bombing them, and we were successfully destroying their nuclear program before it got off the ground. But,
Yeah.
the early OSS leaders started to say, "Ooh, we can't make it obvious that we're bombing their plants because they're gonna
Yeah.
take it underground, or they're gonna know
Hmm.
that, you know,
We're
why are
doing a
they
similar thing.
why are they
Yeah.
bombing our plants? Oh, because maybe the US plan isn't going as fast as they wanted, so they're the next
Yeah.
best thing is so what we did is we started to bomb everything, including the plants. And so, yeah,
Okay.
that's but
So it's
it's
just collateral
yeah, it
damage,
was
is what
like
it
yeah,
looks
so
like.
instead it was
Yeah.
like, "Let's go bomb, like, everything." But that's like declassified info. It's like we
Yeah.
went and we're like, "Let's," I think it was General Groves was like, "Let's go bomb everything around it,
Yeah.
including it." And it would just
Yeah.
get caught up in the waves, so they don't
Yeah.
know.
So it's
Yeah.
not suspicious at all.
So, like, we
Oh,
can't
yeah.
yeah, we can't make
So
it
they're going for the Mecca one. That's why they've been destabilizing the
the
Middle
whole
East for the
region.
last couple
Yeah. Yeah.
decades.
Yeah. All the immigration, yeah, we need to get everyone
Yeah.
over there. Yeah, maybe it's like maybe you have the different
Huh.
spheres of drops, but then there was, like, one, like, emergency drop, and it just held everything. It was in case
Yeah.
everything else doesn't happen, we'll do
Yeah.
one huge, perfectly cuboidal, black, like yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And they're like
Yeah.
they did not plan for, like, the most, like, fanatical, destructive religion to, like and it's like, fuck. So it's literally like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like the one yeah, it's like some
Oh, that'd be cool.
it's like
And
it's
that would make sense why they're holding it because they've, some of the earlier stuff on that big cuboidal thing, they've
what
deciphered the
didn't
information, so they
yeah,
know that's all the information. They're
yeah,
just waiting to
yeah,
get the rest of it, so they're holding it off, but they can't fully hide it because it's
yeah.
such a
It's
big
so
deal for
big,
so
yeah, so
long.
they hit it in place. or there was like
Yeah.
one other one, and that's what all the grave diggers were in like Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that was like it turned up empty. Maybe we were hoping there was a second emergency drop.
Yeah.
So we went to like the pyramid,
Egypt.
and that's why all the tombs are raided.
Yeah.
But no, it's like there's just one big one.
Yeah.
They dropped it into the middle of the desert because they were like, there's no
Mm.
rain or ice. There's no like
Yep. So it'll
nothing's gonna
last.
grow over it. It's gonna be right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Dropped it right on top of the oil reserves because they're like, they will eventually find fossil fuel.
Yes.
They weren't expecting like radical Islamist like a state to form. It was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That'd be.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You wanna
Good
wrap
one.
this? You wanna wrap this up?
Yeah, I think that works for
Sure.
me. Yeah.
Let's,
Yeah.
dude, let's definitely do another one, man.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I'd be down to do another one. Yeah.
That was fucking fun as shit. Yeah, man. I'll email you. I'll email you my number. I'll have you text me. Let's
All right. Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I really
that was
like.
good.
Are you sure you want me to
That was
upload
great.
the second half, man? Yeah, you can have the story.
Maybe cut out the end parts where we go over how it all ends, like with the dark side of the moon and the Mars drop and that sort of thing, because that's probably the part that ties it all together. Although honestly, if I'm gonna do this a movie as a
If you're
book,
gonna do it, you should just take it.
yeah, well,
I'll
I think I
eventually
would probably do it
publish it.
more of like a fantasy war kind of thing
It's up to you, man.
to drop.
I personally
But
don't care, but dude. It could be really cool if you wrote
oh
this
yeah,
whole story, and then
yeah,
in the future we can publish this one. It'll literally be like, here's a video of like J.K. Rowling writing Harry Potter.
yeah,
That could be really cool,
maybe
man. We could do some
it
guerrilla
could be.
marketing in like 5 years.
Yeah, assuming I get famous or anything by then. No,
Yeah,
I'd say
be positive. You will.
yeah,
You gotta be, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's up to you,
No,
man.
I'd say upload it. Just leave out the part where we discuss the ending of the book. Because if someone steals it, because I think the ending's super good, like,
See,
really cool.
I think the ending. I think if you have the beginning, I think the ending is a natural conclusion.
It could be depending how they take it. Although honestly, I'm not too interested in doing like a modern like thriller like what we've been talking
Yeah.
about, just because that's not like my kind of style of book. So I would do if I took this, it would be more of like a fantasy war or like
Yeah.
steampunk war kind of thing.
Yeah.
So leaving that in is probably fine because I would love it if someone who's really into those books to take it and see where they go with it, which would be super cool.
I'll just put it up,
So
man.
I'd say put it up and see what happens. And I mean, worst case, someone takes it. I have plenty of other book ideas.
Yeah.
And anyway, even if they do take it, hopefully they'd be like, I kind of got the idea from this podcast I saw.
Yeah, that could be cool.
A couple of years ago, and then everyone comes and looks at this and like, oh wait, who's this other guy?
What if some dude writes this story and becomes the next fucking like J.R. Tolkien, and you and I are like, fuck.
Dang it.
All we get is just a nod.
Yeah.
And we're like, do we get any of the royalties? Maybe we're just pumping up our egos. We're like, this is such a great idea, and everyone listening to this podcast like, it's a fucking terrible idea. This is
dumb.
It's like, oh, should we not upload this? It's such a brilliant idea. Jesus, yeah, maybe we need to deflate our heads a little bit.
Maybe, yeah. No, I'd say put it out.
All right, fuck it.
See what
happens.
Yeah.
Maybe that in itself is a testament. Don't hoard the knowledge.
Yeah.
Like the drops. Don't hoard it. Put it out there.
Right.
Everyone will benefit if the whole thing is out there.
Yeah.
Maybe this is our lesson within it. Maybe that was the final drop. We just got a cyber drop, and that was the idea. And now it's let's see if the humans are ready.
Yeah.
All right. Past future humans. Joe and I we passed the test. We're uploading the whole thing. We're not being gatekeepers.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Joseph Johnson. I'll link your book.
Yeah, for sure.
And dude, let's definitely do another one and just at least just brainstorm for the fucking. That was fun as shit. That was fun as shit, man.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Fuck yeah, man. All right, brother. Thank you so much for doing it, man.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Pseudonym, writing name, Thrak Farrelle. Thrak. How I spell Farrelle? Thrak Farrelle. RRELLE. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make an audiobook? Are you gonna read it? Are you gonna narrate it?
So I mean,
I will
what
go
I've
through.
been
I
doing
will
is
listen to all your
self-publishing, so I have
books.
no idea how to if you can self-publish an Audible book.
Not
I have
that.
to go through like a publisher to do that, which I plan on doing at some point in the future.
Yeah,
But so yeah, it would be cool if they get big enough. For sure, definitely,
yeah. I'm trying
be
to get the
awesome.
Fusion guys to make an audiobook, and I
Yeah,
told them I was like, I'm just gonna pull up my podcast, and I told him I was like, just read your book. Like, I'll
yeah,
leave the room. Like, I'll just read it over 8 hours, and I'll upload it.
yeah,
He said he actually might do it. So
yeah.
if you ever want to just
Honestly,
read your
that's
book,
not a
man,
terrible idea. Yeah, just read it on a
yeah,
YouTube
literally,
series.
I'll open it up on here and just get some
Yeah,
coffee in like 12 hours and like
go
no
through
stage
it.
fright. I'll leave the room. I'll go play Xbox. Just send
Yeah,
me an email when you're finished, and I'll upload it.
yeah,
Yeah, man. If you
yeah.
want to do that, I don't give a shit. That'd be
Fantastic.
cool. I'd listen. I'd listen a
Yeah,
million times over. I don't read because I'm ADD. Thrak
yeah. No
Farrelle,
worries.
Joseph Johnson,
Yeah, Joseph J.R. Johnson is the
Joseph
pseudonym.
J.R.
If you
Johnson.
look up Joseph Johnson,
Too
you
many.
won't find me. There's so many Joseph Johnsons out
Stick with
there.
Thrak Farrelle because I remember Thrak Farrelle.
Yes, yeah,
That's yeah. I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
But yeah,
fuck yeah,
Joseph
man.
J.R. Johnson.
Joseph J.R. Johnson, aka
Yeah,
Thrak Farrelle, aka the Drop Man.
yeah,
Yeah, my mind's fucking spinning, man.
yeah.
Oh, oh. Last thing I was gonna say, you could line up the drops and
Oh yeah.
have them like leading to the pyramids, and then
Oh yeah.
you have it lined up
Yeah.
towards the stars, and it's like pointing to the stars.
Yeah.
Go to the
Oh
stars.
yeah. Oh, that could be cool. Yeah, like
Yeah,
where they want you to go, and then
yeah.
also leading on Earth to the big library that's still there
Oh
that has
fuck.
all the
Yeah, because you
information.
could bury a subterranean one. You
Yeah,
don't just got to do drops. It can be
yeah.
subterranean.
And then the
Just be like
drops lead to that
literally like a
one.
nuclear. You put it in like NORAD. You put it in Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah,
Just
a big
lead
nuclear
everything in.
bunker,
Be like, it's all
vacuum,
there.
environmental controlled, so there's nothing in
That's
there.
where the seed vault would be. That's where you'd have all
Yeah,
those. Yeah,
yeah. So you could do one set drops to the Seed Vault, one set drops to like the Vatican Library,
yeah,
like we talked about earlier.
yeah,
Then maybe set up your own library that's made to survive an
yeah.
apocalypse. That's its only purpose as well. Yeah.
This would be a dope video game.
Yeah.
That would be a dope video game.
Oh yeah. Could do like Fallout. If you didn't do the drops, that
Yeah,
would be the vaults are opening up. You have to
yeah.
find them, kind of like Fallout.
Fuck. I'm gonna keep going if we don't stop this. So,
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
all right, dude. All right, man. Thank you very much for doing it. Threat
Yeah.
Farrell,
Thanks
Joseph
for
J.R.
having me.
Johnson. Yes, thank you so much. And let's definitely do another one. I'm gonna email
Oh
you
yeah.
right now, and I'll link you when this is uploaded. All right.
All right. Sounds
All right,
good.
dude. Peace,
Yeah.
brother.
Thanks, man.
Here.
See ya.
Yeah. Peace.